Imperfecto here with another knife review. This time I have my SOG Pentagon Elite II. See if I can get that whole knife in the frame. This knife I probably bought in 2007, and this was my work knife. I took this knife to work every day. See here, there it is. It's made in SOG Japan as well. When I bought this knife, I bought it because it had this tip right here, and I thought that was really a cool feature. And the tip was just amazingly strong. I mean, I beat this knife up. I would use it for everything. I took it to work, and at work I wear gloves when I have to work. And so when I would pull this knife out of my pocket or my quick hitch, I could fit my whole gloved hand around it, and it would not slip out. It has great texturing right here. It just was amazing. You always had enough purchase on here to grab onto the handle. It kind of swells up towards the back so it wouldn't slip out, and it swelled up towards the front right here. It has this jimping here on the back of the handle, which just helped you grab hold of it with your gloved hand. I mean, I used it for piercing. I use this thing to pierce everything, doors, to open doors. I mean, it would get full of sand, cement, everything. You can see right here where it actually scraped the blade, or wore the blade down from opening and closing it. I actually sent this knife into SOG. I sent it back to them because after using this knife, or really I abused it. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I did whatever I wanted with this knife. I would even chuck it at walls for it to stick into the sheetrock, or I would throw it at wooden panels and just have it stick in. I mean, I used to have fun with this knife. This knife was my everyday use and abuse for work knife. And so because of that, I don't know if you can hear this, but there's some play right there, up and down, and there used to be a whole lot of side to side play. I would tighten it and try and take it out, took it apart to clean it, and I just couldn't get rid of that. And then the tip right here, this shark points tip, or shark's tooth tip, had a huge dent in it. This is VG10 steel. Had a dent, and so I sent it to SOG, and they resharpened the blade for me. They resharpened it and kind of took that dent right out. It used to be right here, but they were able to take out the dent, get it somewhat sharp again, and send it back to me. The only thing that never went away was this up and down, but I no doubt bent the pivot here in the back. And I also liked the lock that SOG had for this knife. It's kind of like, I guess, the Benchmade access lock or whatever, but I mean, it was strong enough. I mean, granted, when I would throw it at walls and things like that, sometimes the lock would give, and the blade would fold in half. But this knife took a good beating for 2 years straight. We used to also see who could cut through the most frozen water bottles, and this knife has so much heft. I was able to do that. I think I cut through like 9 frozen water bottles, used it like a samurai sword. Just a great knife. I don't have enough good things to say about this knife. It was just an awesome work knife. The handle material on it, I don't know what it was. I think it might be like some kind of a FRN or maybe a plastic. I don't know. But it held up great. I know my hands were wet many times when I had this knife in my hand, and it never slipped out of my hand, never twisted or anything like that. It worked really well. The only problem one time I did have was the clip, and I've had this with problem with a few of my SOGs where the clip right here, I don't know if it's too long or what, but it usually gets caught like on a seat and it bent up. I just took that thing off and bent it right back, and it seems like it's always functioned, but it's still pretty strong. And as a matter of fact, now that I think about it, I think SOG actually replaced the clip on that I used to have on here with this one. Actually, now that I remember when I sent it in. But this is a awesome knife, the SOG Pentagon Elite II, made in Siki, Japan, in VG10 steel. I don't know if they still make these knives, but if they do, I would suggest you buy one. Imperfecto out.